Howdy. How y'all doing today on this nice sunny Sunday? Yeah, I get to see the sun real good today. Well, let's get right into it, guys. Hey, sorry you missed that whole video that I did yesterday. I apologize for that. All you got was a segment of it, okay? Just so you didn't get lost about the video, or maybe you quite didn't understand where I was coming from. I was in a conversation on social system of early man and the social system of modern man. And I was also explaining what Bigfoot is. So I'm sorry you missed probably 20 minutes of it, 25 minutes. And I think it was like about a 35, 40 minute session I did. And like I said, I apologize for that. So when you watch that one segment or the one that's up right now you have an idea of what exactly that particular part of the video was about, okay? So, since you missed that, so what I'm going to do right now is I'll go ahead and I'll get you caught up in what you missed, okay? Now, and of course the headline was, what is Bigfoot? Well, he's a lot of things, so to speak. And of course he goes by an array of different names. But we all know him mainly as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Myself personally, I like calling him Sasquatch. Okay, so that being said and done, let's get on with this. So here I go, I'm going to get you caught up what you missed. In that session, what I was discussing about, like I said, is what is Bigfoot. And what it had to do was, there was at one time, and even today, there was such an array of different types of, how would I put it, different types of views on what Bigfoot really looks like, okay? And I know you've all seen a lot of the computer-generated characteristics of what they believe Bigfoot is and what he looks like. And they put this information together too through a lot of eyewitness accounts. Now, but you have to understand too that the majority of your eyewitness accounts, it's either they get a quick flash of it or they get a quick look of it. A lot of the pics, even videos or films that are taken, you should know too, they're always blurry. You really can't make out what it is. It goes on, etc., etc., etc. So you understand this concept. So what I'm going to do today, I got one big question to ask you guys. Do you really believe that's what he looks like, the way he's depicted on television? Because it's not exactly correct, okay? And I know this for a fact because I have had my own eyewitness accounts, not just me alone. I've also been with several people too throughout the years, so it's just not my word you're going to take for it, okay? And so, and here's the deal. He doesn't look like how they depict him, okay? That's not what he looks like. So, that's why I'm explaining this to you. So, the question is to you, that I'm going to ask you. Do you really want to know what he looks like? Because I will explain it to you in detail of what he really looks like. So you ready for this? Okay. Let me start off with this first and foremost. I started doing my research about in the year of 2010. At that time, I was just thinking about retiring for the job I was doing at the time, which I was a private contractor, private security. And I did that for about a decade. And also while I was doing that, and let me tell you something, I put in the hours. I was putting 14, 16 hours a day. Sometimes I would work weeks without a day off. It just comes with the job, you know. And in between those times, on my days off, me and G would take off. I'd go pick him up. We'd take off and we'd go out and do our research. And at this time, that's when I switched. I got tired of going way up here north by Oregon. And I did about what we could do up there. So we switched and went to the other side of the Sierras. Now, on that, when we ended up doing research there, we were researching for about a year and a half. And in this one, pretty good sized radius of an area. Okay. There's a part of the area I was at on that side of the Sierras, which it's a road called Mosquito Ridge. Okay. And that takes you out of the backside of where they were working the gold mines and making gold mines and panning for gold and digging for gold and such back in the gold rush days, okay? So anyway, so we found this one area that we researched on for, like I said, for about a year and a half. Now this particular area, this was the best thing about it. Absolutely no human beings, except for Garland and I, step foot in this area. I only know where it's at because G's not here with us no more. God bless his soul. And we never ever told anybody, period. No one's ever been in this place, just me and G. That's it. How do I know that there's never been a human being there? Very easy. You see, human beings, for me, you're all the easiest thing to track. I mean, you really are, because I hate saying it, but you guys just leave your evidence everywhere. That's just the truth. I could track you guys all day long. No big deal. It's too easy. So, that being said and done, we covered this whole area. Not one evidence of a human being that's ever been here. Period. And this area is also, you could say, prehistoric on top of that. It's millions of years old, that whole area. So, on this one particular morning, we set out and we went to the same spot that we've been doing for a year and a half. And so you're wondering where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this, at this time, I started at 2010, so at this time I got 2 years of my research, so now we're at 2012. 2012, I had my very first eyewitness account sighting, me and G both. And what we experienced, what we saw, is what I'm going to tell you and explain to you what he was in detail. Okay? So this area we're in, like I said, we had been doing research for a year and a half. I had several questions I needed to answer. Number one, how intelligent they are. Number two, can they see in color like we do? We went out to answer those questions. Through all the experiments we did, and through the different variety of items that we used, I came up with the conclusion, out of a year and a half's research. One, yes, they can see in color, as we do. And not only that, they're also nocturnal, which they can see in the dark better than we ever could. And daytime, their eyesight's better than ours. And also their intelligence. They showed us their intelligence also. They could think things out. They can reason with things and think and reason them out. That's a fact. We also noticed in this one area that for quite a while that they were going around collecting pine cones, and they were stacking. We had stacks up that high from the ground, I kid you not, and probably 4 or 5 feet in length. And there were several piles of these. They were all pine cones, and what's in the pine cones? Pine nuts. That's one of the foods they consume. They eat a lot of pine nuts. Why? Because it's a high source of protein. It's available all up in here. And that's why we were finding stacks of pine cones. So the area they were in, say environmental-wise, habitat-wise, it was excellent. A lot of food, a lot of water. Damn good place to stay totally evasive, and no human beings. Okay? So we decided we wanted to go to the bottom of the canyon this morning. So this was going to finish our research that we were doing in the area. We started above, worked our way down below. We had a certain radius to cover and research. Okay? So we decided we're going to go for it. So about 7 o'clock that morning, we geared up and we started hiking in. Now we got to the one area, there's like a ridge, see, and there's a canyon, goes down and it drops about around 400 or 500 feet to the bottom. And down at the bottom, there's a river, and it's called the North Fork. And it's also a box canyon, okay? One way in, one way out, and it's difficult. It's harder to get out than it is to go in, and it's pretty difficult to get down. It takes you about, Garland and I, we would move methodically down, going parallel, going down to the canyon, because you can't just go straight down. And it took us about 45 minutes, about 45, 50 minutes to descend to about 500 feet. So we get down to the bottom where the North Fork's flowing, okay? And of course when we get down there, we know we're deep in a box canyon. And like I said, there's only one way out, one way in. So, as we get down to the bottom, we're just off the bank, just above the river. And there's this huge fallen log, see? And so I sat on the left side and G sat on the right side, which we always usually do. We back-to-back observation post, so to speak. I watch his back, he watches my back. I got about 180 degrees in front of me, he's got 180, so we got it all covered all the way around us. That's how it works with us. So on that particular morning, we did that, as we always do. I would say we were there about maybe 10, 15 minutes. The first thing we noticed is that we were in a dead zone, like a dead zone we have never experienced before. And I mean, you couldn't hear an animal moving, you couldn't hear a vocalization of any animals, and that is even including the birds. I mean, it was so dead that you literally could take a pin and drop it and you could hear it echo in that canyon. That is a dead zone and a half. We've never had. It was very eerie feeling that, because you felt it, you know what I'm saying? Kind of makes you feel like a little nervous, a little uneasy, a little anticipation. And of course that adrenaline starts working on you. All of our sensors are, man, they're engaged. And we're really on high alert. We're looking all the way around. All of a sudden, I would say about a couple minutes later after that, something caught my eye to the left, was coming down the canyon. And I turned and I looked, and I seen what looked like at first a human being dressed in black from head to toe. And I was watching this, and he was coming down the canyon, but he was coming down like, I mean, this is like a 35-degree angle, man. I mean, you're dropping 500 feet. There's no way a human could have done it. Hell, me and G couldn't do it. I mean, it took us 45, 50 minutes to descend, and partially the way we use ropes. And this guy's just literally coming down the canyon like this. Just strolling it like it was a piece of cake. Now, as I'm viewing him, and he's getting closer and closer, I remember I kept my eye on him, and I said to G, I said, Garland, you ain't gonna believe this. I'm looking at this dude that is all dressed in black from head to toe. And G says, seeing things. Ain't nobody around here. And he kept on looking where he was looking, and I just kept looking, and all of a sudden he got to the point close enough where, man, now I got a crystal clear pic of him, period. And what I'm looking at totally blew my frickin' mind like you can't believe. I knew right there and then. Sasquatch is no myth. He's not a legend. The SOB is real. He's real. A real, live, living, breathing entity. He's real. As real as me and G were that day. About that moment, I yelled at G. I said, G, look now. Darling just turned and looked as I did, and we both saw him go behind these thickets, right off the riverbank. Oh, probably above the river, maybe about 5 to 6 feet above. And he was behind these thickets, and then behind that was, all these thicket of pines. And there was a clearing about like this from the bottom, so you could see probably about a foot and a half. So we could view a little above his calf to his feet below. And we could see him, he was like Yancey. He was moving back and forth like this. And I got a perfect look at his feet, at his calves. I mean, his whole being. I got to see the whole frickin' thing. And as he was behind the thickets, me and G, we did not understand why he did this, but at this same time, I got my camera, right? And I got my camera. I'm trying to get it going. It's a new camera, brand new battery. It's got a full charge on it. And when I pulled it up and tried to engage the cam, it wouldn't work. For the hell of me, it wouldn't work. Now, I know you've all heard stories on electronic equipment failing when he's around. I will tell you this, that's no myth and that's no legend, that's a fact. It's happened to me and G several times. And when they're around is when it happened. But I think I have some kind of an answer of why that occurs. It has to do with static electricity. So anyway, I'm in a panic because I can't get the damn camera to work. All right? Then, all of a sudden, it decided to work. So it engaged itself. And I started filming. The saddest part about that, though, was when the camera would not work is when I would have had a picture of a lifetime on video, period. And when I did film, because he was behind there, and what I would have caught really good, like I was already explaining, he did something that kind of blew our minds. What he did was he went biped all the way up, and he raised his arms like this. And when he raised his arms up, we could see from the shoulders up to his hands. Thumb, 4 fingers. And huge, massive arms. I mean, his hands were just huge. I mean, huge. And then he dropped. And as soon as he dropped, like I said, that's when the camera engaged. And another thing happened to the camera we didn't have a clue about until after we did the video. Was first the damn battery was not working correctly when it got working correctly, and then after the video there was no sound. The microphone went dead. Now you could kind of take it from there that the odds were really working against us at those moments, and you're absolutely right. That's how difficult it is to get these guys on a video with crystal clarity. It happens quite often. It's why I always say you have to it's got to be the right time, right place, right moment, and you might get that right thing you want to get. So anyway, we sat there and we watched each other. I would say this went on for about, I would say, a good 5 to 10 minutes. He never intimidated us in any way, shape, or form. He wasn't aggressive. And what he was actually doing, he was watching us, studying us out of curiosity, and also learn. They learn from us by watching. And they also know to stay away from us because they know what we do to ourselves, to other animals in the forest, and to the forest, period. And they don't like it. They don't like it. They're what you call, Bailey, they're what you call the watchers of the forest, period. Now, you want to know what he looked like, right? Okay, here we go. This is the juicy part. I'm going to give it to you in detail, okay? This is what I saw. And this is what they really, really look like. Okay? He was a male. I know he was a male because he had no breasts of a female. He was tall in stature, about 8.5 feet tall. Weight, approximately 600 to 800 pounds. Arms are long, legs were long, torso not so long, and kind of tapered around towards the waist, as you would see in a primate. He was all covered in thick, dark hair. The palm of his hands, just flesh. The hair is on top of the hand. Back of the hand, just flesh. Bottom of the feet, flesh. He had hair from head to toe. The only difference was, besides the feet and the palm of the hands, there's no facial hair in this area. None at all. The length of the hair is long. It comes in different sizes, or I should say different lengths. Okay? Now, the skin color was what I would describe as rough and rigid, as you probably would be, being in that kind of environment. Also, the fleshy color of the skin was kind of like a charcoal gray, kind of a charcoal gray, little dark charcoal gray. The eyes, his eyes were dark brown, the iris. The whites of the eyes was what I call an off-white, which means it's basically got a little yellow tint into the whites, okay? That, so far, is what he looked like. Now, on the facial feature, the forehead slightly protruding, the jaw slightly protruding. His head is large and almost comes to like a cone, slight little cone on top, almost similar to what you would see in a gorilla. Muscularity, massive as hell. I mean, massive. Look at I'm a retired from a few years back, a competing bodybuilder. I competed on national level. I even went up for my pro card. I know, how would I put it, the symmetrical built, say, of a human, be it female or male, okay? The symmetry of the body, which basically is what? The length of the limbs, legs, arms, torso, okay? So, and that's why I'm saying he was very massive, very muscular. And not only that, when he moved, you could see just the muscles just ripping through his body. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it was awesome. I've seen some large animals in my time that are massive and muscular, especially like with bear. No comparison to this guy. I mean, you're looking at him upright, 8.5 feet tall, 600 to 800 pounds, and just massive as hell. Calves. His calves alone were probably 20 plus inches in diameter. His thighs, probably 35 inches in diameter. Biceps. My God, the biceps. I mean, I've known some guys in the field of bodybuilding that had some of the biggest biceps on record. This guy would have blew that all away. Blew it all away. And so now you understand what I'm talking about. This is all in detail what he looks like. His chest, totally massive chest. Huge chest. Forearms, huge. Everything on him is thick and massive. He's built for this environment. He's built to survive in this environment. You have a living creature of that stature who can also see in color, can think, can reason, and he has a memory. And he learns quick. And he's a great observer. And most of all, he's an expert in the art of being evasive, to evade us, to evade anything it wants to. I basically call him a chameleon of the forest, because I know I've seen him too many times. I know how they like to hide. And they actually could go into the forest and they blend in so well. I mean, from tree to tree, from thickets to brush, whatever you want to be in their vegetation. This guy can blend in with it, and you would never know he's there, and he will always know you're there. So, when this event when it came to an end, only because all of a sudden he disappeared. I mean, to this day, I don't know how the hell he could have just evaded us. We were only about 50 to 60 feet apart, okay? But he totally evaded us. Don't know where the hell he went. Just gone. You see what I'm talking about? Chameleons of the forest. So, anyway. You know, Harry here, you could kind of say he's kind of similar to what we saw, what we experienced right there, except just dark hair. Right up in here, no hair. This was no hair here at all gone. This all face. But you could, even on Harry here, you could see the massive size of him, so you got to get an idea. But in real life, the real world, if you run into one of these things, I'm telling you what, you don't want to. Just the size of them alone is intimidating enough. These guys are huge. I mean, they're huge. And strength, I would say these guys probably got the strength of, let's see, full-grown male silverback gorilla. Stand biped, about 5'11" to 6 feet tall, at a weight of anywhere from 400 to 600 pounds. That's huge. Have y'all ever seen a Rogaroff? They're massive. Now picture Sasquatch. Damn near twice that size. That'd blow your mind to see something out in the woods, wouldn't it? It does, believe me. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is really him. That's what he really looks like. And between you and me, if you saw one, and we saw this guy, when I looked into his face, I saw a human. When I looked into his eyes, I saw a human. And even the characteristics of the way they're physically built, it resembles a human. And why is that? Because they're part of us. I've told you that before. They have human DNA in them, which is obvious because of their origins. They come from early hominins. What we actually saw and experienced was nothing other than a hominin hybrid that's evolved from over 1 million years ago up to what they are today. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Hope you do the same. And like I said, I'm sorry about the video that's up. The previous one, it's didn't tell you much, so I hope I kind of tied that in there for you. Okay? Anyway, I got to go, guys. Hey, y'all take care now, you hear? Okay, bye.